I can't go anywhere. You know, I'm in fear of my life from this. I have helicopters and planes shooting at me. They won't even let me sit in my yard. I actually can't do anything. I hide in corners all down Center City. They're waiting for me. They sit in cars, teams of them, waiting for me everywhere I go. And they make different parts of my body hurt all the time. Like they put chips in me. I know I had dental work, and after I had this dental work, this is when all this stuff started, and I was put to sleep. So they probably chipped me and they put all kind of stuff in me because and they also come in your house. You know, it's terrible. I mean, like, I don't know what else to do. I'm at my end here. I can't go to the hospital. They had broken me out in rashes all over my body, and I had to go to the hospital and just give me medicine for it. I can't go in there and explain to them what's happening to me. They won't believe me. Nobody in my family believes me. They turned everybody against me, you know, and I'm just like a helpless person. And I don't like to go around people, you know, being so sad and so stressed out because it affects everybody else. But this is serious.
Start with your diet first and foremost. That's what the one thing you have control over. That's what I've been told. We should always start with our diet. You know.
Well, they won't let me go to the store.
You with anti-radiation and get spirulina and try to, like Alim said, try to alkalize yourself. And there's certain oils you could take. You probably have a lot of nano in you. Probably have a lot of nano wires and nano, like nanoparticles, crystal particles, or whatever it may be. So there's certain essential oils, like get yourself some food grade, like peppermint oil. Start putting that, get distilled water. Don't drink the city water. Buy distilled water. And put up like 3 drops in like 12 to 16 ounces of water. And it'll help melt the plastic in your body. Because they're putting plastics in the body, so you're an easy target. Once you get this stuff out, you're not as easy to be a target.
Okay. If I can get to the store, they won't let me go to I can't get the Whole Foods, and I have no income or anything, so I have to try to get people to help me and donate things to me. So they won't even let me go down the street without hitting me with something and making me want to run somewhere to get away from it, and you can't get away from it.
Right. Well, you know Dr. Alim now. He goes through herbology and essential oils and all that, so he's a good ally for you to try to, if you can, get your health and get that together. And he'll help you with your mind too. Help with the mind. He's a very, very bright, intelligent man. And there's a lot of tools for you, a lot of tools. Yeah. We can help you, you know. You have people who can help you. Don't let them push you around, you know. Don't let them push you around. Stand your ground and don't be afraid. Stop being afraid. They'll thrive on that. I know personally, you know. I have PTSD also, you know. I have post-traumatic disorder also, so I'm suffering too. But we got to just stay strong. Sometimes you just got to say, screw you. You're going to do what you do. Just don't mind them. Don't pay them no mind. You know, what you focus on, you give power to. You know, mentalism.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Fear is like a tool or something, a weapon that can use against all of us. If any of you ever saw the movie, it's old, kind of an old movie now. It's called V for Vendetta. And what the movie, I always ask people who saw the movie what did they like about the movie and what the movie was about. And so like everyone would say, well, it was about the New World Order. I said, yeah, it was about, you got that part right. But what was his main message about the movie? And what they could say, well, the New World Order. I said, well, yeah, but how did the New World Order became into existence? The movie was about fear. If you ever run up on this movie called V for Vendetta, be sure to watch the movie. I'm sure you'll like it. because he was asking.
It's also about rebellion, that when there is suppression and repression going on, it is our duty. It is our duty to rebel. It is our duty.
Yes, and that was the message that the Codename V, when he took over the television station, and he said that, how did this happen? How did all this? You lost the right to consent. You gave up your right to consent. You gave it up. Why did you do that? Through fear. Through fear of people, of terrorism. I talked to people about the airports, and most of the people will say, yeah, all that is necessary for them to search us the way they do. That's all that's necessary. I said, if you even give up the constitutional right, the Constitution, said, yes, I'll give up my constitutional rights because of fear. Because of fear. And
that was the whole objective for them to destroy the Constitution. Will Cooper had touched on that.
Yeah,
the Constitution keeps us free. It was based off of Indian law.
Yeah, he asked the question. He said, "How did this? Who to blame for this?" Well, look in the mirror. Look at yourselves. Well, the Constitution actually is Muslim law. Actually, Muslim law. A lot of people think that the Constitution is something that they had brought from England. It is not. It is a Muslim Moorish law. A contract we had set up with them to stop all these wars between the Europeans and the Moors. And this is a contract. Our people, our ancestors, written that contract. The Europeans signed it. This is the understanding a lot of people have to really. This is the understanding that real people have to understand what really is going on. Because England does not have a constitution, a written constitution. They don't. They always talk about having one, but they do not have a written constitution. And this is what a lot of people don't know either. But yeah, this is like I say, this is what's going on and what has been going on for years. And, go ahead. Anybody want to say something?
I'll touch bases on that fear. As we know, fear is the lowest vibration in the kingdom. That's the animal. And that's the animal. When an animal, either fear can make you or break you. I think I remember when Tupac had said that fear, not love, but fear had got him where he needed to be. That all the love he gave in the world didn't do nothing. But when it was fear that once you can't trust anybody and this and that actually that fear can either make you or break you. It's the opposite. In a sense, it's the opposite of love or whatever it may be. So can you alchemize that fear? Can you alchemize anger? It's all alchemy. Everything on this planet is alchemy. Energy, chemically, you name it. So can we alchemize that, Get some crystals, get that, they vibrate faster than the speed of light like we do. We're a walking scalar wave. Literally, we're not even electromagnetic. We're actually like a electromagnetic scalar wave, which actually is faster than the speed of light. So if you research a man named Tom Bearden, you can get a whole. It's called energy through the vortex or something like that, through the vacuum. He has a whole series. You can buy a whole series on it. This man is genius. Well, he talks about these weapons, too, a little bit. He talks about using scalar waves to cure cancer, radionics to cure cancer, radio frequencies. So the same thing in which you're killing us with, they can heal us with.
Okay.
So literally,
listen to that, ma'am?
His name is Tom Bearden.
Okay.
So, he has a whole series. I don't know how much it is for all the whole series. You can go on his webpage or a webpage, and you can buy these DVDs, a set for, I don't know, $250. I don't know how much it is, but it's fantastic information, fantastic. Talks about cars, the future of cars, that elevate, that levitate. you name it, free energy. He's talking about free energy. He's a whistleblower, but he has also talked about some of this technology, and you can find that in it was either in the Death Ray with Jesse Ventura, or it was in the Brain Invaders, but I think it was in the Death Ray with Jesse Ventura. They tried to interview him, but they couldn't.
Yeah, they canceled this show.
Right. So he's a very good one to research. If you have the money to buy his DVDs, it'll give you a lot of information. And we can utilize crystals and utilize. Also, there's a man named Wilhelm Reich, which he was driven, so he put in prison, and he created devices like the orgone accumulator box that cured cancer. Every single patient, he cured cancer. You can watch a documentary on him, Wilhelm Reich. That's where they get like orgonite from the idea. But he had created a rain machine. He made it rain in droughts. So you can research like what's called cloud busters, and it's it's this orgonite material, but literally it's made in the image of this rain machine, and they're like 6-foot pipes of copper pipes, and they have crystals inside of them, and set in like a circular pattern of like 6 of them, and then set into orgonite in a bucket of orgonite, and literally it will bust up chemtrails and any type of negative frequencies in your area for some of them 100 miles. So we have the tools we need to utilize that, to utilize some of those. You can get like what's called sucker punches, orgonite sucker punches, that they have what's called a Mobius coil connected to them, and they'll actually put the frequency through the crystal itself and amplify your surroundings, which kill like some of them have zappers, which kill parasites. It's another one they're using against us people is parasites. They can use directed energy to control and steer parasites in the body. They've done this through underneath microscopes, where they took directed energy with a frequency and took these worms, and they could steer the worms any way which they wanted to, just with a frequency, because that's really what they follow anyways. So people need to utilize the good technology, and Wilhelm Reich is much, much better to research than Nikola Tesla, because it's his technology that's being used against us. But Wilhelm Reich, literally, through studying natural energy, or chi, we call it an East chi, mono, whatever it is, he had actually learned ways to naturally harness the natural energy instead of producing it with machines. So he is one man that everybody should know his story. And there's a place called Orgonodon or Orgonodon, something like that. And he had created a research center on natural chi energy. And he had learned about this through, he studied under Freud. And they had a fallout. So he studied like the human, what they call orgone came from is the human orgasm. And how they studied and measured a bioenergy electrical field when a human being has an orgasm, that it actually covers the surface of their body. And through this measurements, then it created his consciousness to study this in dark rooms in his basement and in machines, and eventually with the orgone accumulator. So a good book is the Orgone Accumulator Handbook. Orgone Accumulator Handbook. So there are tools that we can utilize, and we're going to utilize, that cannot be messed with. We can turn this door energy, deadly orgone, or loose energy, is also hurting the farm animals. They're finding their feet are being damaged because this loose energy is gathering on the ground. So if we can, it's all around us. We need to put everything back in wires. No more towers. Put everything back into wires, and then recalibrate everything, in a positive manner. And we need to hold those people, those hold these people accountable for their creations and what they put out there, and not purchase it. Not purchase it. That's why I don't have a cell phone. Unfortunately, I pay the price for that. But definitely research those. That's what I have to add with that. Wilhelm Reich is an incredible, incredible man. Incredible.
Yeah, let me add to that list, too, because the book Body Electric by Dr. Robert Becker is a good book, and he speaks about the human body, how it has an electrical frequency, just like we just finished talking about the MHZs, or what's called the megahertz, that this electrical frequency, and basically that much about a person's health can be told or determined by it. So frequency basically is a measurable rate of electrical energy flow that is constant between 2 points. And your 2 points is your north pole and your south pole, which is actually the top of your head, and your perineum. So everything has a frequency. And also study Dr. Royal R. Rife. That's R-I-F-E. He rediscovered that every disease has a frequency, and that he has found basically that a certain frequency can prevent the development of a disease, and that others will destroy diseases. So the subject, can be researched further, and the substances of higher frequency that will actually destroy disease of lower frequencies. So he has a machine that he did, but this machine is being produced now by former Harvard professor Lynn Horowitz. He has this frequency machine, so that would be a good thing to invest in, because what they found out, and being that Dr. Lynn Horowitz, he wrote several books, and these books was talking about the biological chemical warfare, and a lot of this stuff that was in there, vaccines and so forth and so on, and how it's detrimental to the health. But if people need to know that our bodies deal with frequency, what we've learned is that thought travels at least 24 billion miles per second. Light travels 186,000 miles per second. And sound travels 1,120 feet per second. Meaning that light is nothing but thought slowed down, and sound is nothing but light slowed down. So each time there's a condensation of the mind, which is thought, the mental, that condensation becomes slower. Hence, at the sound frequency of 1,120 feet per second, we form a physical body, because sound has been shown to form shaped. Matter is essentially cymatics in the structure of space itself. And so no point is more essential than that. That empty space is not really empty. It's the seat of the most violent physics. And John Archibald Wilder stated that, because what we found out that really only approximately 1% of all we know is matter.
Did you make it with my water?
No. Only about 1%. And so when we look at the sacred geometry, we're looking at pi. We're looking at the golden mean ratio. We're looking at life itself, how it was formed by sound. And if you get the Vedic text, it states specifically that the sound in which that was produced, which scientists refer to as the Big Bang, the sound that was produced, is what is called, quote unquote, the Om sound. The Om sound. I rather explain it that the first substance of the universe is magnetism, and it was created by condensation. And condensation of what is condensation of mind? And what we say is that God mind in its expanded state, which is i.e. the universe, formed the first substance, which is magnetism, which is based on the law of attraction. And magnetism condensed further and formed the second substance called electricity. So actually when we say electromagnetism, it actually should be magnetic electric. All right? It should be the other way around because magnetism comes before electricity. Magnetic symbolizes the woman principle, all right, the pulling principle, while electricity symbolizes the masculine or male principle, the pushing principle. All right, so electricity condenses into light in the third substance of the universe. All right, and the electricity first thought to be a fluid was now understood basically to consist of particles called electrons. And your body is electrons. Each atom has an electron emission. Your chakras, your aura. And then when we further condense it down into the fourth substance, it's called ether or space. And then, of course, they tell you about the last three substances, which they taught you in school, which is gas, liquid, and then solid, which condenses in the third stage or the three stage out of ether. Those other four higher stages between beyond solid, liquid, and gas can also be called chemical ether, life ether, light ether, or thought ether. All right? But these are the seven substances of the universe, which all came out of what we perceive to be nothing, or the mind of God. So when we say the mind of God is nothing, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It means that the mind is not a thing. It's obvious that, to everyone that the mind or consciousness is not a tangible thing, yet it's the source of all things. This is the first principle of Taoudi, of mentalism. The all is mind, and everything in the universe is what? Energy. And the Vedic text, wisdom tells us that the soul is our consciousness. So consciousness, the soul, the mind, magnetism, all these things correlate to your very existence and correlates to your afterlife existence, as we say. All right? And really, when people, ask the question about, well, what happens, to the universe, when certain things take place, such as allegedly 5 billion years from now, the sun allegedly will go out, Well, there's some things that they found out concerning that. They found that the minds of the people would expand to the gambit and engulf the universe. And from that will form another universe, So this is why we have a repeated cycle of universal life over and over again. And what I'm trying to state is that you are the universe expressing itself as a human being for a little while. I'm going to say that again. You are the universe expressing itself as a human for a little while. So understand that's who you are. Scientists have already discovered, quantum physicists in particular, that more than 90% of your body is made of stardust particles or stardust material. That's what they found out, that more than 90% of your body is stardust material. Now, that's phenomenal, because they also found out that 300,000 tons of stardust material falls to the planet Earth daily. So you, as a being who possess melanin, you are supposed to absorb your share of that supreme force, which is cosmic energy, prana, chi, or ki energy, on a daily basis. And that's the purpose of practicing Qigong or Tai Chi, Reiki, pranic healing, and all these various energy modalities is to get us to those particular levels. You know, anybody else have anything to discuss before we go?
I'd like to touch bases on that Rife machine.
Yeah.
I don't have one of the very expensive ones, but I have one that was like $600, and they work very well. It has like anti-radiation. You know, it has like a very good detox. I had called the lady. I had called her, I guess the general manager or something. I had asked them, since we're touching bases on nanotechnology, that they're in the process right now of trying to find the vibration of nanotechnology. So when you put on the Rife machine, you can destroy the nanotechnology or microchips in your body.
Exactly.
They're in the process of trying to find that out right now. So you can do your daily treatment,
I would think that
whatever's in your body, and then you can, you know, and help flush it out with you know, like still water and whatever else, you know, it may be, you know.
Right.
That would be a real good breakthrough if they successfully, nanotechnology has to have its frequency. If every single illness on the planet has a frequency, then so does the nanotechnology. So does all these particles. So that's the next step, is to destroy this.
Right, and we gave the clue that you're dealing with EMF fields, and of course that's what it will also have to be part of, is that same system, because they don't like anything beyond 60 hertz. Just look at the back of any machine or electronic, and it always oscillates at 50 to 60 hertz. That means the nanotechnology will have to oscillate at that same frequency.
Right. Well, if they don't create it, we should.
Right, because in their mind, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So they're not going to do anything differently. You know, because to them, that's a sign of insanity. But we got a call, area code 410, you're on the line.
Peace, family, peace, panel, greetings, blessings, abundance, everybody.
Greetings.
Yeah, y'all hit a bunch of points tonight, man. Just everything. I know it's not too much time left, and the sister that called, that man, that broke my heart to hear what she was going through. But I mean, as far as the meditation and everything, because the diet or whatever it's called, I mean, I don't like to use the word diet, but you know, lifestyle changes with the food. That's paramount.
I say liver. Right.
Yeah, right. And it's funny you say liver or liver. You know, the liver got all type of functions of the body, and the what was it? Liver. That contains the anger, doesn't it? No, kidneys and the kidneys contain.
Right. The kidneys contain your vital, your primordial energy. Kidneys are the most important.
Right. Fear and worry in the kidneys, and the liver is anger.
Right. Fear in the kidneys. Right.
Right. And coincidentally, you know, anger, hatred, what's a phobia? Extreme hate or extreme fear. You know, so. But I say that because, you know, we got this plethora of brainwashing going on with all these, you know, the new media with the YouTube. And it's, of course, there's no coincidence that we just keep on seeing all these murders of our people. And, you know, nothing get past the media without, if it was meant to be there, it was meant to be there, you know. From the people in quote unquote power, the power to be or the power that were. So these visuals is there for a reason, and it's hard to not sound like you dispassionate or anything, but you know, like y'all was saying earlier, to try not to feed the fear, and like man, every time you turn around, it's another family member got in the street, particularly the young boys, and we already know about the organ harvesting. You know, you get more money if you kill the black boys. You know, the women, their organs is important too, but there's more content of testosterone and other hormones inside the male organs. So, you know, that's what Israel, I think they had a multi-million market. You know, the government was actually offering people while they was living just to get the organs harvested. But as far as the fear thing, you know, some practical things. I was even thinking like if the sister does, if she get the mind together with certain meditation postures, closing the perineum. I correctly said perineum. I thought it was perineum, but it's perineum, the little part by your anus. You know, a lot of the fear to get
right.
Right. Yeah, you talked about this years ago, and the fear travel all up in there. So close that down. Get the root chakra in check. I mean,
it's all euthanasia, man. I had talked to Alim about that. I had created my CD. It's called Euthanasia, only with a Y-O-U-T-H, as in we're all children of God. And the hate that you see on the streets, and even the people doing this, it's euthanasia. That you have retaliation or blowback. So each and every human being that is attacking one another is actually euthanizing one another in retaliation. We're all suffering in some form of way. So when you're killing your own brother, when you're killing, I don't care if it's white, black, Chinese, when you're killing somebody, you are literally euthanizing not only them but yourself, because we are one. You know, I am you, you are me, we are one. So it is euthanasia. It's a concept that it's kind of like thug life, you know, like the hate you give little infants fucks everybody. Excuse my language. But it's kind of like a little concept that I had created, that we're children of God, and when that hatred spews out and we take out another brother or whatever it may be, you're actually taking them out of their misery. Because what is retaliation? If you study any gang warfare or anything, you shoot my brother, so I'm going to shoot yours. And pretty soon it's an endless cycle of warfare. People suffering. You know, we all have feelings, we all have emotions. So I just wanted to add that. I hope that it kind of touches people's soul a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of that caused, that's that, a lot of these, like, gang violence and all over the Union States of America, you know, a lot of us are getting killed by us, mainly, you know, and it's a reason for that. That's part of the mind control of what we're talking about tonight,
right.
Program, and some of these people don't know why they're doing it. You know, some of them, you ask them, why did you do that? I really don't know. You know, you may bump into somebody, have an argument or a verbal altercation, but then, you know, they probably harass people so bad and that person that they harass so bad want to go home and grab a pistol and come back and shoot them, you know, over nothing, you know. Why would you want to do that? You know.
Out of pain.
All from. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, this is me.
It's out of pain. You know. Whether we like it or not, people around the world, everybody, even the rich, are suffering. Some of the rich are actually, I think they're suffering from a psychosis. You know, they're suffering more than some poor people. You know, some of them say the richest people in the world are some of the most unhappy people. And some of the, like, you can go through a third world country, and some of the most poor, desolate people are smiling all the time. They're happy and they're playing. They know that they have a shitty life. they're trying to make it the best of it.
Oh man, what is it? The average billionaire lives about 65 years old, I think.
Right.
So I mean, I used to tell my family members they so hung up on these Federal Reserve notes. Like if money is so, if money is the cat's pajamas or whatever, you know, the cat's paw, how come you got billionaires dying at 65 years old? You know, and then you got centurions living up to 110 years old cutting the grass, you know, or walking around and watering their garden and everything. So I mean, and I think it's I love that Buddha quote. A man with no shirt on his back is he's the best off. Something like that. They're basically a person that don't got nothing. They got the least attachments. They best off in the world. Cause if I got to worry about my car note, you know, I got 14 cars. If one car break down, I got to find a mechanic for that. And if I got 13 girlfriends, 2 houses, you know, 18 TVs, all these attachments that just not only etherically connect me back to this place, but you know, it's just like a battleground in the head that you can't stay spiritually developed while you're still on this jungle gym of materialism. So I mean I sold. It was kind of funny. I told this lady that I sold my car. It was kind of forced at the same time, but it's like I don't want to say a fugitive, but it's like the same concept with a fugitive. They get sick of running, and I heard that they even have a sense of relief, like a. You ever hear one of those documentaries that the person said they actually had a sense of relief when they turned themselves in? So you know, them crazy ass killers.
It's all over, you know. It's over now, you know. So I think that's how they feel about it.
Yeah, same with the material, man. You just release. It's a surrender. Get out of this flesh. You know, I guess it'll be the same thing with people with the OBE experiences, the out-of-body experiences. You know, getting out of this, what do you call it, this prison or this incarceration. Inmate. Oh, wait a minute. N-E-A-T. M-A-T-E. Okay, same word. Inmate, same thing. So, you know, it's part of our prison sentence. We just gotta learn how to live out the time.
Right.
And it was the whole point of like the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean. If you read that, it's all about out of body. Right? He speaks about how the body is actually darkness. Cast off thy body and soar in the light, as he would say. So like literally all his experience about going into the higher astral planes and seeing beings creating planets and kind of goes back to like some of the Gnostic Gospels about like John the Baptist being put back into the belly of Elizabeth. So it's almost like they can go out into the celestial galaxy. Some of these higher beings or whoever we are those, you know, and literally we can go retrieve or either were they fishermen of men go into the darkness. So we come like they say like Jesus' crucifixion was actually him coming into the darkness, him taking on a physical body, a blood body, and that was the blood sacrifice of coming from the light plane into the darkness, being that he was never bound to the darkness or this plane. So they were fishermen of men. They would go into the astral. Jesus taught most people in the astral realm. So I forgot what I was going to say, but a lot of the Fishermen of Men, I believe, is just exactly that. People being bound to like the third or fourth dimension and being able to break free. So you're talking about the OB. When you have like an OB experience, you know, like I was like 16, 17 when I started lucidly astral projecting, and being lucid that I was astral projecting and be able to actually manipulate my own dreams consciously, knowing I was dreaming. So you're right. When you feel bound or you're not doing that, you actually feel like you're in prison. You're in prison. So if you could break free from that, that's mind control. You're breaking free from a lot of mind control. That's what I have to add a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, with brother Phil Valentine, what do you call it? The light code lockdown, light prison lockdown.
Yeah, I think I heard of that.
Right. All right, we have a few more minutes. Any closing statements?
Well, I enjoyed the show tonight, as always.
It was very good. I send love to that young, I don't remember her name, the one who was suffering real bad. I send love to her. She's in my prayers.
Yeah, my energy's off to her, too. You know, advise all of us that our energy's off to her and her family.
Right.
What I would like to know is, how do you get this in the public, to the public, for a public outcry? Because the senators, I have already come to the conclusion that the senators, Congress, they've all been caught with their pants down somewhere doing something, so nobody says nothing. And we need a public outcry.
Right. How to go about this.
How to go about this and how to go about getting it out there. You know, you know they control the media.
Yes.
They control the police, certain law enforcement.
The medical society.
Yes, they control them. So that's going to be very, very, very difficult to do that.
I think that's where we contact great minds, you know, get together some great minds, some inventors. Even inventors, you know, invent for a reason. So if they can invent something, then they can, of course, put together strategy, you know, some type of strategy. How do you get it on not only a local level, but how do you get it on a national level and eventually on a world stage? I mean, does it have to overflow, or, you know, does a teapot have to completely boil all the water out of it before people have no water to drink, you know? How do you get it to the people, and how do you get it to people who don't want to listen, who don't care, who don't believe, you know? I've had numerous fights with my stepfather, with my father, because they just don't believe. They want to think you're going through a psychosis. They call you stupid. They call you crazy. And that's your family members. They're supposed to love you and support you. You know, if I have a child and he's going through this, and I mean with proof and everything, scans and patch tests and what he's experiencing, I mean, I would support my child with all my energy, all my ability. Because how can I call another human what they're experiencing crazy? That's the oldest trick in the book.
Yeah. It's the same as when I try to get out the nationality and birthright issues. It's hard to get that out. That's something you will never hear on the media. You know, what Alim and I and Kadira and Taj Debris, other sisters and brothers out here, you know, you'll never hear that on the local or you know, national or international news. You never hear about any of that because a lot of that information is suppressed.
I wonder if you can contact maybe your local news. I've watched different shows like You can find them on YouTube, where some people were literally in their community were hearing, multiple people were hearing voices, so they started covering it on their local news.
Well, you'll hear it on
what
YouTube.
Was actually going on.
You'll hear it on YouTube.
Right.
They got it all on YouTube all day long,
right.
on YouTube.
Well,
but the local...
And they're even trying to censor that because Google runs YouTube, and Google is one of the number one to actually be tracking and monitoring people, too. They look at everybody's emails, everybody. Yeah. You can find that on, like, it's smart meter. There's some type of YouTube video, or it's about smart meters. Forgot what it's called exactly, but they had talked about Google and being part of this tracking and monitoring, and I believe Edward Snowden had even touched basis on this. So is it like in game? Is there really no way to even get it out? Are we doomed, or is something going to give? I mean, I believe in God. I do believe in a higher power, and He has to have some type of plan. Something has to happen.
Well, I know what can be done is taken into the international body, such as the United Nations, and putting it before, before them, especially during the times of the Indigenous Permanent Forum and during certain events that occurs throughout the year at the United Nations, just being able to go and, and state, these types of things and have a written statement by many who this is happening to. So some type of, document in which that can be put forth to help verify this, by the dozens and hundreds and thousands, even millions of people that this might be affecting right now, but having some type of petition, concerning researching this further, so that's what has to be done, is at the international level. At a local level or at a national level, it might not get much steam because of what is taking place here, in this corporation.
Yeah,
It's almost like we have meetings of the minds. We have to get good minds together, people, revolutionary minds, and kind of like the revolution won't be televised. We keep it silent, until the time is right. So it's like we got to get good minds together and get in a meeting of the minds and kind of like get blueprints, really, like a prototype, a blueprint to go about it in a strategy, You don't go to war, or war's on our door, so you don't go to war without a strategy. I always say become a student of war before anything, which obviously is a student of peace, but also, know how to defeat thy enemy without going to war. Well, as we know, the war is already at our door. We're at civil war, the rich and the poor. It's also a mind war, and most of all, a war of the heart, So perhaps we can get good minds together and advise, get some type of blueprint written out to go about this, and then you strategically place people to do different things at the same exact time,
Yeah, I was thinking something Alim just said a minute ago. Yeah, you can get this information on the internationally. I wasn't thinking of like the UN and get that to be heard. But that is a great start, a big start right there.
Yeah, because I've been to the UN several times, and you have to have some type of written statement, some type of petition in order to put forth, and they give you the time to speak. And matter of fact, you can even rent a space in which that you can bring others who are interested in order to hear what you need to say and bring the people in order to get their accounts, and they can hear, this at a, international environment where this information, like you said, you've talked to people around the world, Mexicans. You said this was occurring in Europe, that this was occurring in Africa.
Right.
Corey, I know you were saying that this was occurred all over the world, so it would have to be at an international setting. It can't be at a national setting because, yes, so-called United States corporation is a melting pot. However, the problem is that, this information needs to reach everywhere, and we have the tools in order to get it out, everywhere, or at least as much as possible, and that's via the social media sites that we do have. But in order to get it out on a political international, it will have to be at the United Nations.
Right.
I give good examples, like I stated earlier. Malcolm X stated that we need to take our plight of what is taking place before the United Nations. Martin Luther King started coming to that same conclusion, as well as, others. So it's just something that has to be done at that level. And like I said, I've gone to the United Nations several times and actually spoke at the United Nations. So that isn't something on which that, that is a far-fetched. That is something that can actually happen, especially under indigenous affairs, so
perhaps the way we can contact, like President Ahmadinejad has gone before the UN and talked about many things. In 2012, his speech was actually very well. We talked about a new order of the world and how if we didn't have World War I, II, and III, how would this world be? That the false leaders that call themselves Christians are not true Christians. They're Zionists, So he met up with true spiritual leaders from Israel themselves. Not all of Israel is bad. So he met up with the non-Zionists and had a meeting of the mind. So how do we possibly contact one of these representatives who actually is not bought and paid for, or has not been silenced or offed by what they call economic hitmen?
That's a good question.
I'm sure one of us will think of it, or all of us.
Right. All right, we have area code 843 on air.
Greetings. How's the brothers and the family doing?
Well, God, how you doing?
All is well. I like what you were speaking to earlier. When you spoke on the United Nations and getting together those signatures and things like that, because that's really what I feel it's going to take. And it's beautiful that the family is starting to wake up. As you see, I'm down here in the Carolinas, and of all places, this is the natural world and the old world, but, you really hear young people having different discussions, and I even hear people talking more on spirituality. And, this is the box belt, I call it, which is the Bible belt, and a lot of these young people ain't falling for that okie doke no more, So I really feel it's about that world court more than the United Nations. Another reason why I'm saying that, because, Doc, isn't that where Drew went to bring forth his issues?
Right, he went to, it was before the League of Nations, and probably helped develop into what became known as the League of Nations, which that, of course, eventually became, after the late 1940s to mid-1940s, to the late 1940s, what became known now as the United Nations. So, yes, he went to basically a gathering of the world leaders, and he went there in Havana, Cuba, in 1928 on behalf of the said Moors. Brother L, you want to go further into that discussion?
Yes, it was. It went 1944. I believe it was August of 1944, when the League of Nations turned into the United Nations. That's ever since then it's been known as the United Nations. But yes, in 1948, that's when they started the human rights laws by the world courts, and it was voted on then. But Obama had put the icing on the cake, and what was that, 09, 08, when Obama signed the rights of indigenous people. That was sort of like the finishing touches up on it, on the human rights issues. And this is what a lot of people like Malcolm X.
December 16th.
Or was it? Okay.
December 16th, 2010. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's when I would like to put the icing on the cake. The thing that Malcolm or El-Hajj Malik Shabazz and Minister Farrakhan tried to do, but they couldn't because they did not have a nationality, a real nationality, and this is what a lot of people have to learn how to understand. The reason why Dr. Alim can go to the United Nations and speak on the behalf of the Washita, the Aborigine, Indigenous, Tonkinese people of America, because he has a nationality. And if you don't have a nationality or birthright principle, they're not going to hardly listen to you. For instance, that Minister Farrakhan tried to tell them they was black and of the black nation, the Nation of Islam. Well, Islam is a religious creed, so that could not be accounted as a nationality. And black is an adjective. I have nothing against the color black at all, but not when it does not hold in law, and when it comes to people. And this is what a lot of people have been misunderstanding about that. Have a lot of misunderstanding about that. Why they couldn't get anything done at the United Nations, and this is the reason why. And this is why you have a lot of people like myself, Alim, Kadira, a lot of other Moors from different nation tribes that go to the UN and get things done, like the Empress Veriachi, Tunica El-Bey. She had a lot of things done. She went to the World Court. They listened to our United Nations numbers, charter number is 215/93. We were recognized, but I think was it 128 nations, Dr. Alim?
Right.
128 nations. And this is the one reason, the first thought that a lot of us as indigenous people have to learn, before we go to the United Nations and world courts, so we can get things done. When people start first recognizing us and start listening to us, as a people. That's all I have to say. Expound on that.
Right, and to the way you brothers study, I'm about 3 months old, but my point in saying that is this. You could look at our recent history, and there's a lot of things that will assist people who striving to know the accuracy in what needs to be done, because you can go all the way back to Dred Scott. And I've heard a lot of people speak on that case, and they said it's still open. But just like what you're saying, he didn't speak on nationality. He said he was a Negro, and that's just like being black in America. That establishes like a corporation, right? That establishes part of the Emancipation Proclamation. See, and I've been striving to get people to acknowledge that we're prisoners of war It's not about slavery. You're a prisoner in your own land. And it is really that simple.
Yes.
So if we would come to the consciousness of even that, that would bring about a dynamic change, because, there's pyramids in the Grand Canyon, there's mounds all over the place, in America, pyramids and everything. So it's like, all the proof is right in front of our faces for the seeker.
Yes.
So, like I said, the family is definitely waking up. So I think it's really a matter of time, and I think that's another reason why they're striving to contaminate so many things, and with these GMOs and all of that also. That's probably what they're doing, because they think, they're hoping that it'll bring on, like that movie Idiocracy. People are so dummied down that they won't know their right hand from their left hand. But, it's like what you brothers are speaking to. The breathing and all of those things and going within and win is truly the key. I thank you for this moment.
I thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Did I close the show?
I don't know. I didn't say it. I expound everything I want to expound on it and everything. So.
Oh, y'all got too quiet, man. Wait a minute.
It did get quiet.
Told a lie? Maybe because I got told a lie. So what happened?
So it did get quiet. Yes, it sure did.
Got
let me ask another question then. You guys spoke on food grade peroxide. And what about the condiments like parsley and thyme and cilantro and water? Because that also helps to rid the body of parasites. Because I've come to find out, like your brothers were saying, diabetes, all of those things are basically parasites. So
sugar,
dementia is probably,
too much sugar. Too much sugar. It's like one atom away from the same as cocaine. Yep. Sugar. Try to limit that. Try to limit carbohydrates, the glucose levels, which actually kills your energy. Anything that has like is a carbohydrate, or like they even say carrots is actually not that good for you because it raises your glucose or index.
How about dementia? What is the thing with dementia? Because that's one thing that's really taken out our elders, and for those of us who really strive to
aluminum, the aluminum in the chemtrails, and they're putting aluminum in the elderly medicine, the pharmaceuticals. They're putting aluminum in it. It's actually killing their brains. It was actually in Obamacare. If you read, there were so many pages, but in one of the pages, they had the euthanization or the killing off of the elderly because they don't contribute to the monetary system anymore. The kids with leukemia and cancer in large amounts. It's why they've had cures for so long, since the 30s. They had a cure for it from in Canada, B14X or something like that. The Rife machine, the Wilhelm Reich's orgone accumulator, cannabis oil. There's so many cures. So it's like the pharmaceuticals are literally in on this, kind of like the epidemic with heroin. A lot of them are getting it from these pharmaceuticals, and to come to find out that, like, the poppy fields in Afghanistan were guarded by our military, and our military, we are actually paying for the people to grow opium there. Exactly. To come to find out, like, Bin Laden and his people actually had killed off a lot of the opium production. When he was alive, they were destroying it.
Afghanistan in order to get them back to. It went into Afghanistan to get them back into production of it.
Right.
That's right.
That was one of the cash crops.
Right.
Yep.
That's right. Somebody told me about, I think it was 2009 or 10, bin Laden's brother, he was the one who was running those poppy fields down there.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do it anymore, and he burnt them, like you're saying. And he told the so-called United States Corporation powers that be he didn't want to do it no more, and they killed him like 3 days before his next, anniversary or birthday.
No, they said they killed him. From what I heard, he died in a cave in Afghanistan in a cave. He was on dialysis. So then, our government goes, we're going to go assassinate him. And by the way, we're going to throw the supposedly most wanted criminal in the world. We're going to dump his body in the ocean to have no evidence. like we're supposed to believe this? And then
I don't believe
they
that.
bought it.
I don't believe he's dead.
You know what I mean?
I don't
like
believe
2 men taking over a plane with box cutters. Like, come on,
I believe Obama. I do not believe Osama bin Laden is dead.
Yes, he is.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, he was supposed to have died like 3 months before that incident. Exactly what he's saying. That's probably why they.
I heard that too.
And also, look what happened to the so-called SEAL team that was supposed to have killed bin Laden. Where they at?
Probably dead.
Yeah. A week after that incident happened, somehow their helicopter blew up. They were supposed to be going out on another mission. And the helicopter blew up. All of us supposed to be on a helicopter. I got that off the news, Toxic TV.
Good old-fashioned misdirection.
Yes, indeed. Look left, look right, right?
Well, they did something tantamount to that again. Remember that whole pirate situation? The pirates was taking over the Navy ships.
Africa. Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Cruise ships.
Now you tell me, how do some pirates in a daggone sailboat take over a multi-billion-dollar military? You got brothers that's on a paddle boat, basically, and you telling me that they took over, they commandeered a Navy ship.
There's something wrong with that.
Hey, come on, man. 4 brothers with AKs is more powerful than 3,000 men on a destroyer. Come on, man.
I ban it.
Oh, serious. Yes, indeed.
I ban it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. They dumbing down people, and even in that Constitution, man, it's supposed to be for the people, by the people. The people's supposed to have the last word, and all of them things, man. And I don't know. That's why I really celebrate the fact that the young people are waking up, man, because it's really incredible. It's like you're saying that BP is still putting those chemicals in the ocean. All the way down in Florida, I think was spring. They was talking about all of that red water that was down there, and then you look at all of these people that are farming fish now,
right.
And what do they think all of those chemicals are doing to those fish in the farms? It's really amazing, man, how people don't have a clue. Now we got this hurricane or tornado, whatever it is, called Matthew right now, and I went in 3 stores to get some distilled water, and there's no water on shelves, there's no bread. The people seem like they're pretty calm, but you can't get those simple necessities nowhere. Everything is off the shelf. No batteries, no candles. It's crazy.
You know what, brother?
And people don't.
No, my bad, man. By the thought is still in my head, you just struck a memory in me. I remember a long time ago, Donald Trump, out of all people, was talking about this is when gas was like $4 a gallon. Or no, before that, before gas was $5, $4 a gallon. He talked about a loaf of bread going to be $7, and he talked about the distilled water situation and everything. That's crazy, man. It's like it just kind of hit me.
Yeah. But you remember what they did to Bill Gates, right? When he didn't want to join that invisible hand, they made him break up his company because he didn't want to join, right? So that just goes to show you when those people in those families elevate to a certain level, either they have to become one, with the rest, or, they're going to destroy it. Because Trump is crazy, and Trump, sometimes when he speaks, he sounds like a fourth grader, with his verbiage and diction, but he's still a very wealthy man. And you Google and see how many places he has properties, man, and skyscrapers, man. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But get this, though. He got an aversion. He got an aversion towards Muslims, whether you say it out open or not. But then you got a casino called the Taj Mahal.
Mm-hmm. And he has properties in Dubai.
Right.
More of that smoke and mirrors again, right? Let me hear you say it. I ain't going to believe it.
Exactly.
I heard the Pope's supposed to endorse them.
Trump?
That's what I heard. I didn't understand that neither. Because he dissed the Pope. He dissed the Pope, so why would the Pope endorse him? I don't know. Anybody heard of that?
I haven't.
I haven't either. That's what I heard.
Well, Roman Catholic Church is against putting women in power. That's why, their first line of defense, as far as back in the day, infiltrating the country, they used to send the women and the nuns, so that way the value is, that showed where their value was as far as that feminine energy. So, being that it's either lesser of those so-called two evils, it's either Hillary or him, of course he probably going to endorse, a man, even if he doesn't agree with him.
Yeah, it's a lot of symbolism going on there with what's her name, Hillary Clinton, because the whole her being sick, whether she getting radiation of some sort, some type of technology on her, I have no idea, but the symbology showing that I really don't keep up with politics, but she's on a sick side, and you got this powerful Trump or whatever, or they already picked the picture that is Trump and Hillary. They already put that image out there. But as far as her being sickly, it just makes me wonder where the votes are going to go, if it matters anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of these leaders are implanted anyways. That's how they can kind of control them and keep them on a leash. I mean, if we have, if the public has nanotechnology inside of them from chemtrails, I mean, they're breathing the same air as me and you, but I mean, they're literally on a world stage, So most likely, I mean, they're facing some of the same things. I mean, if you research the Clinton history, it's crazy. The Rodhams are some of the biggest satanic worshipers in her indigenous. So there's a documentary you could watch by a lady named Kathy O'Brien. She's MK Ultra, and she had talked about the Clintons in there. Her story's crazy, but she's speaking up about that too. And Roseanne Barr is speaking up about it, and some other people. I wonder if there's somebody in there that can take something to another level, about what's going on with the people. I've been listening, and I've been trying to dig through my brain and how it actually will come to be, because I remember Iceland. I commend Iceland because they're the only ones who overthrew their government. They overthrew their government, which was, and the bankers. So, and remember when it went, I think it was around Occupy Wall Street. It went almost worldwide. Literally, it had spread like a wildfire. So in Egypt, they had 1 million people in the streets, something like that. So it's how do you get worldwide attention? If you can't bring it to the UN, if you can't bring something to the UN, if we don't have a representative, how do we get attention? How do the people get attention? Do we need to create, literally, instead of marching like let's say Martin Luther King did to the White House? I mean, you don't want to march to Big Brother. They're not going to listen. We're not going to go to them no more. We need to go to the people. The people need to take notice, because it's our shit anyways, excuse my language, but we built this, we built this, our effort, our money, our energy on the backs of slavery, pretty much. So how do you get attention? How do you get attention of the world? The world always imitates America anyways, or they've always emulated America, because they've either liked our pop culture or liked our freedom. So how do we create a wildfire amongst the streets of the people? Not our representatives who don't represent us. Half the leaders don't represent the people. Congress don't represent the people. Senate don't represent the people. But you talked about Reverend Al Sharpton, don't represent the people. Music is one way, Music is one way, but how do you get people to literally march in a way that the world, they'll have to pay attention. The newscasters and the cameras will have to take notice, because literally it'll be evident. So the world will then see what is going on, and the world will then have their single eye on America and what is going on, and they will emulate that, and they will march not to their government, but they will march among the people. And pretty soon you have freedom marches amongst the people, not in violence, but in peace, in Messiah seeds, and in love, and in meditation, and in party, in fiesta mode. In fiesta mode. That I believe that once the world gets freedom in that emulation, I could see the whole world rejoicing, and partying and smiling, and kind of like they did with Monsanto over in India. The women came together. It's the women. The women, we need the women, because they bear children. They're being killed, like the baby boomers, the mothers. For population control, you get to the women, so they're dumbing down the women, fake hair, fake nails, Botox, all this fake stuff, so they're getting to the minds, and they're more masculine now. They're being masculinized, and which isn't always a bad thing, but we need the women, because they bear children, and we're their children, to take heed and take notice. And, I mean, it kind of goes to the rainbow prophecy with the Hopi. I've been talking to a Hopi man, been talking, I told Alim about this. I had called him because of the Hopi prophecy and the rainbow children, the rainbow warriors, the brown, the black, the yellow, and the white race all come together in what they call the red ray, which would be similar to the ruby ray and the 144,000 prophecy of the armies coming together. So it's like, how do we create that movement that no longer will we acknowledge these people, the government, that we need to acknowledge one another. So I think that the world will emulate something like that most of the world is oppressed. So then when they see that, they'll say they have something going there. Like they're really onto something. Like I could see Buddha leaving, in my mind I see Buddha leading a march. And would he march in anger and in ways in which the people, even with energy weapons, could be manipulated? Or are you going to lead in a way that it's almost impossible? It is truly impossible to separate the people and anger them and get them to burn cars and destroy, in a sense, I guess you would call your own neighborhoods, even though they're built around us. You still live in the neighborhoods, not to destroy, but how do we rebuild? How do we build? And I think it has to do with the indigenous people, the Indians. This is the rightful land. How do you get the Indians to finally say, eventually this is going to go onto your land? Even the man I'm talking to says he thinks a lot of the tribes are going to be kicked off of their land, and he thinks there's going to be an exodus. Well, where is this exodus going to happen? Where are we going to congregate or come together in peace? Where are we going to come together with necessities, with clean water? There are ways to get clean water through the air, many ways. So how are we going to get together with earth ships, what they call earth ships, with permaculture and a new way of living, that no longer we have to feed the energy companies the beast, and no longer we have to feed the oil companies the beast. We got to starve the beast. Got to starve the beast. And it'll eventually die. It'll eventually lay down and just die. If you watch Animal Kingdom, they do that. Eventually they understand when they're going to die. They even comprehend death. So how do you starve that beast? No longer feed the machine. Once you learn that 90%. Once you learn that 90% of the oil wells leak, at least most of them are in Africa. A lot of them in Africa leak. 90% of your nuclear power plants leak. So how do we utilize we have all the tools we need. We have every single seed has been planted. We just need to utilize it and find a place that we can build it, and they will come. Where will that place be? And the world will notice America. We've always been somehow in the forefront of that. I mean, even the UN is their structure. They built it. We didn't build it. I didn't build the UN. Who created it? Who created these things? Not me. Not you. So we need to create something. It's up to us to create something and build that foundation for a world settlement, for the world to take notice. Earthships are something great. There's a great documentary. He's called the Garbage Warrior. The Garbage Warrior. Great documentary. If you have time, research like permaculture. So people can start utilizing what they call biodome revolutions. So you can start growing in any climate, 72 degrees at all times. We can start growing indoors, and you can start putting vibration in there and structuring the water in a ways that the plants grow 30% faster and 30% larger. Put oxygen in there so no sickness can be in there, Oxygenate everything. Study oxygen, even helium. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, what I just said, but in my mind or heart, it kind of just kind of flowed,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said earlier, I like exactly what you're saying, and the people have the power. I got a simplistic anecdote, because if you think about it, everything is basically simple because it's always right in front of your face. We just have to pull back our vision to have eyes to see. The day of rest in Hebrew is the Sabbath day. I ain't getting into no religiosity, but I'm just saying. The day of rest is Saturday, so if we have a Saturday on a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, that will basically reboot the system. But again, it's all about people coming together and doing it, because if only 6% of a population in various areas do it, it's going to show a little bit of force. But if it comes to be like that march like Martin Luther King did, or Million Man March, the Day of Atonement, if those many people would stay behind in their house for 3 days, because I'm even looking at this issue right here. They're talking about moving, let's say, 40% of the population in South Carolina that's coastal, away from the coastline. There's no guarantee that Matthew is going to come close enough, even though we're supposed to be on the left side of its wake, and the left side is supposed to be the dangerous side for some reason. But things are basically simplistic. If everybody was staying behind in their house, like it's Christmas, like it's paganism, you know, and just spend time with their family for 3 days, that would, on the first day of the week, the first, second, and third day of the week, I think that would bring a change. You know, I think that would do it. Because you think about it, they're talking this martial law and all of these things. That's basically going to take place if their, strategy works. And that's basically what it's going to be. They're going to tell you when to come out, just like in prison, they're going to tell you when you come out your room, out your cell, out your house, when you have to be in, and when you cannot be walking in the aisles. So it's that simple. And there's so much documentation that proves that copper-colored people, 9-strand, kinky-haired people were on this landmass before any person that they call Indian. There's no disrespect to anybody, but it's documented proof. That's what I'm saying. There's so much information that proves so much that we have to be mindful, and we have to use and change language that means more in overstanding to us than anybody else. So then people will start asking us questions. Well, what do you mean by that? And then we can show them the documentation as we give them that overstanding. It's real simple, because when you change the dynamics of a situation, you have to share the information. So an individual that's striving to understand and know what you're saying, they have to be like a child because they have to be taught. If you see my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, tabula rasa, clean slate.
Exactly. Because you can't fix a system in a system. So you have to get out of the system. Just like computer technology. You can't fix a program in that program. You got to come out of it, You got problems with your car. You can't fix the car sitting in the driver's seat. You know what I'm saying? It's really that simple. That's all we have to do is just on one accord. On one accord. It's the only way anything is going to be done. With no emotion, just like you say, going back to the Buddha. All he symbolizes is a happy face and immense love. And in his center, like Alim always talks about, all his chakras are lined up, and he's pure energy. That's all it takes. And let that expand and expand and expand. That's probably why he's so happy, big and jolly. Ain't that right, Doc? Uh-oh.
Dr. Alim?
I don't think we'd still be connected.
Huh?
I was going to say, I don't think we'd still be on the phone if he wasn't on there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm still on here, just enjoying the conversation.
What you say, though, Doc? Ain't that so? The natural world and that Buddha being that big, jelly-belly, joyous person, that's because of his vibration and all his chakras are aligned. That's how come he's such a being of light.
Right. Yeah, that was all symbolic, exactly. And that was the symbology to it, is that happiness in life, comes by way of finding enlightenment.
Because it is all about unity, and I feel that it really is going to have to go back to grassroots because until everybody really feels and understands what's really going on, some people are going to say, just like them killing off children the way they're doing our children, let me just say, people who aren't from that particular community are saying, well, thank goodness it's not my child, therefore I don't have to worry about it. Something that happens to one of us really basically happens to all of us. It's hard to say exactly how many children either one of those people that were slaughtered would have made, and what contribution that person that they slaughtered or the children that would come from that individual would do for the world. You see what I'm saying? But they're just looking at the emotions and the tragedy of what these agents are doing to these children instead of the repercussions of it, you know? When a tree falls in the forest, do you hear it? I know I'm bringing a lot of controversy to this conversation, so I think I better go to mute. But these are some of the things that's really heavy on my heart.
First thing, conversation.
Yeah, but these are topics that we have discussed many of times on this radio show. You know, so people have to hear it again, and you know they have to hear it. You know, not just from a intellectual standpoint, but from the emotional standpoint, and in order to get us to galvanize, you know, against the injustices which that is taking place against not just us, but, you know, the indigenous people, you know, worldwide. You know, because on every continent, the indigenous people are classified and regulated to the lowest status. And that's no coincidence. You know, that is based on the so-called elite, the said rich, you know, and their infrastructure of white supremacy worldwide.
Yeah.
Yep. False Aryan belief. I mean, we had discussed that before, and we, Alim, how Aryan actually came from what, like Iran?
Right, from Iran. The word Aryan comes from the word Iran, and many of them who believe in the Aryan belief system can say that they ever lived in Iran. So, you know, that is a misconception within itself.
Right. Right. There's a lot of misinterpretation and misconception in this world, man. Lots.
It is. And then you get, you know, hundreds of thousands of people backing you based on a false conception, which basically, you know, it turns into a religion. Truthfully, that's what happens.
Right. Like Buddhism was turned into a religion when it was a philosophy, and Christianity was turned into a religion. Even right. Like Hindu, you know, religion. That's why I like Taoism.
Exactly.
Taoism is like the most natural, easiest path, like the great way, the middle way, which if you even read some of the disciples or read some of the Bible, they're literally disciples of Taoism. The book of Matthew, I don't know who I was talking to, if it was you or Gloria, but in the book of Matthew, he says, don't have, about having precious goods in your house. It gives people a reason to steal. Well, if you go to the Tao by Lao Tzu, he says the same thing. You know, that's 1,500 years before the Bible, or, you know, something like that. So, like, if you study Taoism, it's a gem. It's the most complete works, like the complete works of Shanzu. My favorite works, the Workings of Heaven, is just wonderful. And Confucius, the Confucianism, how he brought like Taoism to a more of an urban belief, that he recognized that politics does affect our lives. So like the doctrine of mean and a few of the